Mandalorians are not just learning about how to fight. You also have to know how to navigate the galaxy.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? I am Chris Knight. This is the Mandalorian Roundtable for the finale, the final of Season 3, which was Episode 8, Chapter 24, The Return. The return of what? I'm not absolutely certain, because, I mean, everybody shows back up in one way or another, so it's like, it's the return of just random people we've had throughout the season almost. That's literally how I took the title. It's like, I don't know. There was a lot of things about this we'll talk about that just kind of make you scratch your head. Anyways, Absolutely. Before we go any further, let's talk to the two gentlemen who are here with me right now. I don't know. Nindroid might be here a little bit later. I know Austinator can't make it. But let's talk to Anzo and Danny first, hear what they've got going on, and then we'll get right to the polls and all that stuff. So, first up, Anzo, tell everybody about yourself. What you got going on?
Yeah, before I tell everybody about myself, what kind of remix were you trying to do at the beginning of the show?
Okay, so we talked about last week how the music that I used for the countdown wasn't the music I wanted. I made it like a minute before we went live, and I got it up, and so I went and I did new music to it. It didn't render the whole thing; it just rendered that little clip. And so now I have to go back in and re-render it, and that's why it's like, oh God, people, come on! I played it, it worked, and then now it doesn't, and so I'll just have to delete it.
You know, if you had a MacBook, that would have actually rendered.
Yeah, Mac probably wouldn't have even rendered at all.
You know what I'm saying?
Truthfully,
you'd have been on point.
But I don't know, man.
I'm Big Report Entertainment. You know, I'm just here on the round table to talk about this final episode of The Mandalorian. I will say, thank God this is the final one. And bring on Ahsoka.
Okay, very good. Danny.
I'm Danny, aka Comic Chat. You can find me with these two guys here every Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our channel, Khaos Central. Each one of us has a show that we've showcase each week. So this week I think we're going to be taking a break, I believe. But then the first Monday of the month, that'll be me again. And I'm here. Missed a couple of the episodes. Things, life happened. So I was able to come back to this. And I'm very glad to be here with my guys so we can discuss this and see what people thinking.
Absolutely.
Well, I already told Danny what I thought, and Danny was like, "Wow!" So we're gonna hear a lot of "wow."
Well, I saw your guys'
Star Wars things from him,
texting stuff together. Yeah. I am Chris Knight, Real Review 3000. That's where you can find me. But let's get right to this. Drop Shop, D. Johnson. Good to see you guys. Make sure you share out the tweet that I have. It is not my pen tweet right now. I have a very special pen tweet because a few months ago, as you guys might know, went to Waffle House and I was sitting there, ordered my Coke Zero or whatever it was, probably just Coke because I don't think they have Coke Zero. And I looked over. I was at a Waffle House. I looked over. There was a Waffle House coffee cup, and I looked at the waitress and I said, "You know what? Bring me a coffee." And it was for JJ. And I cannot make myself take that damn picture down because it's like I see that and it's, So hey, but it is the next one down, guys. So please retweet that and let's get right to this. Overall thoughts, gentlemen. Overall thoughts, and we'll start with you, Anzo. Please tell us what your overall thoughts were.
Overall thoughts was episode was pretty mediocre. I won't say trash for this one because there were a few things that I thought were decent. So I'll say just mediocre. A lot of issues with this episode, man. But I guess they kind of finished it in a way where it seemed like actually a series finale, but at the same time, I thought the same thing with last year's. It felt like it could have been a series finale too, but we'll see. I don't know if they
last year was
announced.
way too
Yeah,
good to end it, and it's like they're like, okay, we have to really do a shitty job to end it.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I think maybe this might be then. I don't know if they announced the season 4 yet, but yeah, it was mediocre for me.
I'll look it up. I think they kind of have
I
heavily
heard
hinted at it.
that he's already written it, what I was told.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Not sure, but
Anyways,
I believe I
Danny,
heard that right.
overall thoughts.
I really liked this episode. I was not disappointed. It sets up the movie. From what we're hearing, it's going to be a Mandalorian movie, and I think this sets it up. I don't think Moff Gideon is dead. I think, and I'll get into my likes and other thoughts and stuff, but I was not disappointed. I was not disappointed at the time. I think what I really liked about this was because if you remember in the Phantom Menace, they would show the fight with young Anakin Skywalker locked in the ship. Then it would pan to Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan fighting Maul. Then it would pan to Padme and her team trying to get up back simultaneously. They did that same thing in these 3 fights. So that really had me like, whoa, okay. So I saw that and I was tuned in. I was hooked. So I liked it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I liked the episode. It wrapped up the season well. It looked cool. There was a lot of great stuff going on. And yet at the same time, I'm with Hanzo. There are a lot of problems. You can paint a perfect picture. And yet a really good artist can come in and say, look, his brushstrokes here weren't that great. This wasn't that great. And I don't want to nitpick this episode, but there were some glaring issues, and we'll get to that, I'm sure. But let's go ahead and move right along to our likes. Anzo, what likes did you have?
I think the fight with Moff Gideon and Mando was pretty good, and then Bo-Katan comes in and does that, says, "Go save your son," and I'll save him. I thought that was pretty good. I let Danny go because I need to really think about it. Let Danny go.
Danny.
Like I said, in my overall, I really liked the way they was able to incorporate all 3 stories kind of simultaneously. I like the way, like Anzo said, that Bo-Katan was able to come in there and say, look, you go save your son. And I think that was right. I thought that Moff Gideon should be paired up with Bo-Katan. I thought that Mando should be trying to save Grogu and vice versa. I like the fact that they made Grogu much stronger than he was, so there's a progression there. Those 2 years did pay off with Luke Skywalker because he's much stronger in the Force. You saw he was able to pretty much save himself to a certain point. I guess he's getting tired because, of course, he's not a skilled Jedi, but he is strong enough he can help you out in a jam. He can save himself until it helps get there, which we saw him do. So I was definitely pleased with the incorporation of that. I liked the father, how he adopted him. Now he's Din Grogu. I thought that was really cool. I like the fact that the armor was not the snitch or did not betray them. I really thought that she was going to betray them. I like the fact that the Mandalorians have their planet back, and I think when we see it next time, it's going to be really good. They're going to do a lot of progress and rebuild it to what it once was. So I'm curious to see how the new Mandalore was going to be. And it makes me even more excited about the movie that they're talking about at the Star Wars Celebration about portraying and showcasing the Mandalorians. So I think Ahsoka is going to tie even more into that. Maybe the next season of Boba Fett is going to tie into that. I like the fact that once Mandor or Din Djarin was able to save himself, because and so many YouTubers said in the past on this particular roundtable and other channels that I've been on that it sounded like it was the Bo-Katan show, but we saw him. I thought, in my opinion, he got himself out of that jam. Of course, his son helped him, Grogu, but he showed that he was capable. He's a badass, and I love the way how they did those screens, kind of like how they did on Phantom Menace. He told R3, okay, when I tell you, go ahead and release this screen, and he did it. He took him out, and he did the next one and took it out. And that just reminded me, he had shades of Phantom Menace. So I love all that. I love how he said to him, look, I need you to be strong because we got to get rid of Moff Gideon. We have to do that. And he was focused, and him and Grogu worked together, and they were able to get to their purpose. So I really like that. I really like the fact that Moff Gideon seemed to took the Emperor's idea and made those clones and stuff, and he's going to filter out all the trash and make it more force sensitive. I do believe he has another. I just don't think that's his only place or location with those for those clones. I think he has somewhere else. I don't think that he's the only one. I think he cloned himself. I think that was a clone that maybe didn't have it, was one kind of the in between. He cloned himself, so he kind of be in two places at two times and kind of running different things. But he was the level just before those clones that were going to be force sensitive. So I think we'll see Moff Gideon again, because again, I believe that Moff Gideon, to use this analogy, is Loki, and Thrawn is going to be Thanos. So I don't think we've seen the last Moff Gideon quite just yet.
Okay, very good. I like that reference right there. The Loki, the easy to use bad guy that could be a main bad guy, but not the main bad guy. I like that.
I agree.
All right, Anzo. Anything more?
Kind of agree with Danny with the screen, the screen doors. That shit was wicked. You know, and he kept telling R5 to open the door, and then he would open the screen, and he open it and fight. Fight there was good. I don't know. I'm kind of like, maybe we didn't see the last of Moff Gideon, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't want this to be, you know, oh, look, Moff Gideon's dead. Oh, no, he's not dead. He comes back to life again. You know, I don't want them to keep replaying that over and over again. But his plan, you know, trying to clone himself with the Force was pretty decent. But other than that, I have more negatives than positives.
My positives are a lot of what Danny said, and like, let's go to that thing right there, the cloning with the force sensitivity. That lends credence to, there's multiple different, like, for instance, here's the thing. If the Emperor or whoever, if his essence, if his personality, like we have to go through the books and other things that Disney has done. But in their timeline, in their universe that is now the Star Wars universe, multiple clones were made of Palpatine. And it would make sense that you would have multiple people working on multiple facets of cloning. And one of those things would definitely be, how do we make a clone that has force sensitivity? Because the Emperor would want his powers. And that isn't necessarily something you just make.
Can I say something that might make us? We saw in the Phantom Menace where Qui-Gon was able to measure the midichlorians in Anakin's blood. So maybe how about if they was able to take midichlorians from somewhere else and then
that's what I think we all thought they were doing with Grogu originally.
Yeah, I think maybe they found a way that they can extract the midichlorians and maybe put them in some kind of lab thing and then insert them into the clones. So maybe that's what they're able to find.
You see, but now, and I said I understand what he's trying to do, but I don't like that because we get when they talk about midichlorians and Yoda's use of the Force, it's like something that surrounds you and binds you and stuff like that. They don't make it seem like it's something that you can just take out of a Jedi and be able to manufacture it.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
But they left that door open when Qui-Gon was able to get a blood sample. That left the door open. Whether or not it was a mistake or a snafu, that opens the door that, okay, we can test this. So if we can extract this from the Jedi's body, we can plant it in a clone.
And now you know why that is literally like the worst part of all the prequels that I absolutely hate is that he put the Force in science. There's a scientific method to measure, which means there's a scientific method possibly to extract. Now, granted, that was Lucas, okay? So Lucas did this, fine. It's his fault, whatever you want to say. That was his choice.
I don't think that was his intent, though.
Well, no, it wasn't. But that's where I was always worried about it going, because I was just like what you said. Yoda made it sound like this mythos that you tap into, almost like Indian culture is with meditation and Hinduism and stuff like that. It's transcendental. It's like you can find another part of yourself that is not a part of this earth or whatever. That's and I like that. But when you narrow it down to take somebody's blood and, hey, look, this is how we know you have this sensitivity. Mm-hmm. That was the problem I always had with it. But again, going back to what we know the Mandalorian is being used for, which is a connection from the original Star Wars mythos to the new Star Wars mythos of this Disney. This is a great episode for that because it ties it to, hey, we have to figure out how to make it so the Emperor, which ultimately is behind all this new cloning and all of this stuff, Thrawn is probably the only one of the group that actually knows the full plan. And Moff Gideon is trying his own thing and all this. So what it is once they figure out how to get the Force sensitivity into a clone, you can then bring back the Emperor.
Can I add something?
That's ultimately what it is. Well, yeah, go ahead.
I think George Lucas did that. Maybe not on. It might have been on purpose, but it's kind of like he's giving Star Wars fans different avenues to kind of come up with their own hypotheses on the way something should be written. And I give you an example. There are people, all of us on Earth. There's some people that believe in the Big Bang Theory, how the world came to be. There's some people that believe in evolution, and there's some people that believe in Adam and Eve, the biblical text. So there's going to be some Star Wars fans that believe that, like Yoda, this is all magical and it's all this supernatural force that you're in tune with, someone's in tune with, and then someone's going to believe the more scientific method. I don't know either way, but as long as they write it correctly, and we know that they cherry pick stuff all the time. Okay, we'll take this. If they cherry pick and make the story make sense and make the explanation, but to me, by looking at it, and like Anzo and you said prior to us going live, that it's good writing, bad writing, whatever you want to call it. But if they show us in the new mythos that you're saying, these new set of movies that's coming out, okay, what he was working on was the midichlorian count, yada, yada, yada. We can extract it, we can do that kind of stuff. I won't have a problem with that personally, as long as they explain it to us and tell us and say that. It ain't even going to be number. Yeah, midichlorian count, we were able to da-da-da, boom. Or they can put something in the crawl. The crawl is like, when we say reverse flash, to me, the crawl can be Flashpoint. All this crazy stuff that happened, boom, then that's when you put the crawl on this, boom, 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 boom. Give us those 3 or 4 paragraphs like we always do, and it can catch people up, especially the true Star Wars fans. And unless you're just an idiot and don't comprehend anything, the average moviegoer should be able to read the crawl and be able to say, okay, now I know what's going. So I think if they do it that way and they do it right and explain it, I won't be terribly upset.
You see, my thing is, yeah, you can do it and explain it, but it just opens up doors that I don't think I want in Star Wars. Like, for example, they opened up the world between worlds, and I freaking hate that. I hate that so much. And those are the type of things that I don't want, like, in Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like,
But it could be a saving grace, Alonzo, because it's kind of like I use terminology that you and Chris more than me. Like every program has a back door.
Mm-hmm.
So when stuff get crazy, you can and you can go in that back door and you can change stuff, you can correct stuff, you can make stuff better, you can make stuff worse, you can delete. That's their back door. If Star Wars get too crazy, they can go to that world between worlds and maybe flip it. I don't know, but that's what I think is kind of like their flashpoint. And I'm not saying that
yeah, go ahead.
everybody's gonna like it or dislike it, but I think that mine was put in there kind of like a backdoor to okay, if something crazy, then we can do this, and then change the storyline. Not completely destroy canon, but can change it or fix it or point in a direction that makes more sense than the previous thing that they put out.
But you see, then that's the problem, right? Because now nothing has stakes. So, for example, Ahsoka dies, but hey, you go through the world between your worlds and bring her back. You
That's
know what
already
I mean?
happened.
Yeah, that's my point. It kills the stakes. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my gosh, they killed Ahsoka. Wow, they had balls, but oh no, let's bring her back because we made a mistake by killing her. I don't like that.
You see, that's Danny's got a point there, but here's the other problem. Just like it can be done to erase the stuff that they've messed up, they can just say, oh, but this also allows us to just get rid of that pesky stuff that came before we owned the series.
Yeah.
It's like, all right. So the other things I liked about this episode, I did like the fighting, the back and forth, the multiple battles going on. That was really cool. The connection that Din has to Grogu very much is still that it was cool. I mean, it was really good. Anza said it, stopped and said, hey, I'm going to need you to, be strong and all this stuff. The way they worked together too was pretty cool. I mean, it worked out. So that was nice. And and the part where he's going through the different force fields and fighting, there were some really cool elements to this episode. So let's talk about what we didn't like. Anzo?
All right. So first off, and I've said this before, like, I didn't like Grogu in the IGA robot, and it just ended up being, like I said, for nothing. Like, the robot ended up fucking getting destroyed, and Grogu had to come out and do it. I thought it was unnecessary. He was fine flying around in the thing he was flying around with, right? He can use the Force, right? So, like, why did he need that? Like, what was the point of that? I think the only reason why they did that is because they started off the season looking for this IG droid part, which they completely abandoned, so they had to find something else to do with it just to tie it in, right? So hey, let's give it to Grogu and let Grogu walk around with it. Like, you had Grogu walk around with it for like what, 2 episodes?
But it didn't abandon it. They paid it off at the end.
Yeah, but I thought it was stupid because it was unneeded. That IG robot was not needed. Like, Grogu did not need to be walking around in that. It did nothing. It did nothing. So that was my problem with that. Now, Moff Gideon, I think, is like one of the best characters in this show so far. And you have him for 2 episodes just to kill him off. All right? I've said this, and we've said this, that they should have established him being a presence at the beginning of the series, right? And have little things with him doing certain things. You could still have the mystery of what he's doing, but at least we get some, more Moff Gideon in this series. And I think the fact that they only had him for those 2 episodes was really bad. I didn't like that. Another thing is Bo-Katan, they're flying to get back into the place there, whatever, after they escape, and they're like, we got to go back. and she pulls out the dark saber. And I'm like, okay, so why didn't you pull out the dark saber in the last episode? Right? And everybody was saying, oh, because their suits were Beskar, the dark saber didn't have no effect on it. But in this episode, the dark saber cut through them like water. So I'm like, why didn't you do that in the last episode? I just found an issue with that. And then they go and destroy the dark saber. Now I ain't saying they probably can't create it back or whatever, but what the hell is the point? Like, we have this episodes where it's like, oh, you have to have the dark saber to rule Mandalore. They fight, and then he gives it back to her, and all of that for it just to get destroyed.
But that raises the stakes the same way Hela destroyed Munir.
That didn't raise no stakes because they destroyed it right at the end of the fight. Like it didn't.
Yeah, but
it didn't affect anything.
Go
ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, I was saying, for me, it didn't affect anything, and the fact that that's her strongest weapon, and she only pulls it out in that moment or in the other episode to cut a hole in the wall. It just makes no sense to me. You know what I mean? So I didn't like that. Is there anything else? That's all I can think of right now.
Okay, very good. Danny.
I'm just gonna say, I hear what Anzo was saying, but to me, it had the same effect, kind of like when we saw Hela destroy Munir. I was like, oh hell, what's gonna be next? It's kind of the same way when we saw Thanos destroyed Cap's shield. I'm like, oh Lord, what are you gonna do about that? And it's the same way we saw when Thanos just kicked the Hulk's ass. Like, oh Lord, that ain't supposed to happen. So that's the feeling that I got for that moment when I saw him destroy. Like, oh man, what are they gonna do now? But then of course we saw what they did do. I think that just like any other lightsaber, the dark saber can be repaired. So I don't think there's nothing that's like irreparable or irreplaceable. But to me, it was just showing just how much superior Darth Gideon was because he had all the suits and he had the enhanced bionic suit on top of the Beskar and that he learned all their tricks and stuff, and he was just that much more superior. I think that's what he was trying to demonstrate in that particular scene with that. But having said that, I didn't like the way it ended with that circle going to Grogu playing with the frog. I thought that was really stupid. I didn't like the fact that they didn't show the Minotaur or whatever we saw. Like we saw Goku, he could sense it. They panned down and we saw it down there. I was like, okay, that should be something that should fly out the water, something to kind of reunite them more and then show them that there is hope for Mandalore being being repaired and being a form of kind of like a symbolism thing. They didn't do it. I thought they lost a moment in doing that. I didn't like the fact that if they did kill Moff Gideon off, I thought that was a waste of a villain, like Anzo said. Why do all that and then just kill him? But I don't think he's dead. I think he has clones all over the galaxies. He has these safe spots and stuff. I think that he took some of the knowledge that the Emperor did and he's now improving upon it. So, and I think he's probably working simultaneously, or he's trying to act like Thrawn isn't out there, but I think he knows he's out there, and maybe Thrawn is having him tell the Dark Council, like he did, or the Secret Council, whatever you call it. Don't let them know that I am in contact with you, and kind of operate behind the scenes, kind of how Thanos was using Loki as a puppet. I think Thrawn is doing that because if you read the books and you've seen Rebels, Thrawn is superior intellectual. I mean, he is a strategist beyond strategist. So I think a lot of that is happening that we haven't seen yet, but I think that's what's going to happen. And when Ahsoka come in there, we may see Thrawn. I think they'll be kind of blowing their load if they show Thrawn on TV. I noticed the trailer, we saw a silhouette of him, but again, we saw that same thing with the Hulk with Infinity War, and then when the actual movie played or the show played, we didn't see that. So I think they might be kind of throwing stuff in there to kind of throw us off. I think it would be a mistake to show Thrawn live action on TV. I would wait till the movie to do that, but that's just me. But other than that, not too much that I didn't like about the episode.
Oh, another thing before you go, Chris. Last episode was called The Spies. Who the fuck were the spies? Right now, I know had the little argument, and it was like, oh, it was the girl from the beginning of the episode, but she was irrelevant to this episode. She was irrelevant to those episodes. So I don't think it's her. So I'm like, if that's the case, who the fuck were the spies? Like, we all thought that the armory or was going to be that other dude, and it was neither of them. So I'm like, well, what was the point of naming that episode Spies, and then you don't pay that off?
Yeah. To Danny's point, I agree with you about Thrawn. If anything, I'm hoping they'll wait till the very end to actually show Thrawn on Ahsoka, and then hopefully by that time they'll have the Mandalorian movie ready. I think the Mandalorian movie is going to be the quickest one to get ready first because they've been shooting and they have all the stuff they need to do it. And if they can do that, finish Ahsoka and have him show up right there, then Ahsoka be in the Mandalorian movie and all that, that might be pretty cool. That might be a way to wrap everything up right there. Mm-hmm. You know, give Ahsoka an ending or keep her around, whatever, however they want to do it. Din Djarin an ending, Grogu possibly an ending, Bo-Katan an ending. You can wrap all that up nice and neat with a movie. But I don't know. We'll see. We always come up with these great ideas, and then they're just like, you know what? Here, hold our beer. We're going to share.
This is what I was going to ask. Do any of you have any faith that they will do this? Because I don't.
I don't have faith that they will. I hope they do something like that. I mean, I wanted them to continue The Last Jedi. And I know people hated that. Listen, the worst thing you can do is once you commit to a storyline.
Okay, Chris's opinions are irrelevant at this point in time because nobody wanted that to continue.
My point with that is that when you have a storyline, you need to see it through. It could be the worst story in the world, but when you stop everything and then try to reboot and restart and retcon and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it's horrible.
You're going to kind of sort of get your wish because they're going to do a continuation of The Last Skywalker, so that's kind of a continuation of The Last Jedi. So roundabout way, you're going to get what you asked for.
Not that storyline.
You better be careful what you ask for, though. I tell you that.
I'm just saying.
I'm talking Chris. You better be careful what you ask for.
Yes, Deej, I know. Everybody said, listen, I have been here for 4 or 5 years, however long I've been doing this. I have never wavered off of my ability to say I liked The Last Jedi. I liked the try that they did. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that it made sense. Listen, Mark Hamill will tell you it doesn't make sense. That is not Luke Skywalker. Okay, I agree. Definitely. But again, here's where the shifty thing comes into play. I can come up with a scenario where he can get to that point. Is it my job to? No. The writers should have done better. Or they should have kept his story, his arc, his personality. That should have stayed the same.
That part don't even really bother me. The fact they didn't have, that should have been an epic lightsaber duel between master and student. And what they did,
she's not.
If they would have had, something like Duel of the Fates, that quality, I could give The Last Jedi a pass, but it made him look crazy. He drinking the space cow milk, and he just, I'm done with being a Jedi, and I'm this, and that kind of stuff. Then on top of that, when he finally does get his act together, the lightsaber duel isn't really real. It is a great feat that he's able to project his astral form all the way across the gallery. Fantastic. I've never seen that done. That causes a lot of power. That takes a lot of whatever, but it wasn't enough.
And then you kill him by doing that. I hated that.
No, even if they had killed him, it would have been more awesome if he had been able to
die in battle or some shit.
Astral project, fight, and if it was an epic fight between him and Kylo, that then killing him because
if he would astral project itself
exertion
and be actually hold.
Exactly.
Like physical,
yes, like literally transpose himself physically there.
That would have been awesome.
That's what I'm saying. That's definitely what they should have done. Oh, trust me, I could go on all day about how.
And you know what's crazy?
One of those movies was
they had the ability to do that because Rey and Kylo Ren had that power. They could transmute one thing.
That's what I'm talking about right there.
Why couldn't Luke have learned that trick and do his whole body there like that? That would have been awesome.
Which was garbage too,
okay,
right?
All right.
But hear this, right? I hear what you're saying, but I don't mind the astral projecting. I don't want them dying to use the Force, right? You have to go with prequel trilogy where Yoda is decrepit, right? And he can barely walk, but when he summons the Force, he's doing black flips, he's doing this and that, and then he goes back to that, right? I don't think you should die by using the Force. Now, if he did the astral projection or whatever, and I don't know, maybe even him getting hit by a lightsaber then still affects him by doing that or something like that, yeah, no problem. You could have the most epic fight for me, but still killing him by using the Force. I don't like that. I don't like that.
I get it. All right, so what didn't I like? Let me start, since we're talking about The Last Jedi, let me start by talking about the capital ship destroying the base.
Yeah, it was dumb.
Mm-hmm.
This is almost as kind of mind-blowing as the hyperspace cut the ship in half.
Yeah.
It's like, if this was the option, and yes, I know it's getting destroyed, he's the only one left on it, there's a lot of that, it just seems to me like, wow, you guys did that. Boy, why didn't we just do that when we showed up? Once we found out, why didn't they just go up there and say, hey, you know what? Only Din's in there. He'll get out, or we'll figure out how to do that. But we're going to send this Force down, and then we're going to do... Like, that should have been the plan. It's an extra ship anyways. They got all the drop ships and stuff. It's like, that's not really their ship. That's a ship that they've commandeered somewhere along the way, so they don't need it. They had enough ships to begin with for everybody. It just seemed... Again, plot... the plot called for it. Easy way. Let's just do it. Yeah, the death of Moff Gideon. Again, it looks cool, but it almost felt like the one of what's her name, Phasma. It's almost like Phasma's death. It's like the fight that ending fight. It's like, man. It just didn't hit right. I'm not saying I hated it. It looked cool. It was nice. It's like all of this leads up to this. This is it. It's like, man, you guys can do better. What else? The IG-11 thing. Yeah, it's like it was more of a hindrance because, like you said, Anzo, he's a Jedi. He can move faster than that. He jumps around fine. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like that was more to hinder him than anything. What else? I'm not the Mythosaur. That'll probably show up next season, maybe. I mean, maybe not. Maybe it's just there to show you that it exists still, and that's the spirit of Mandalore or something. I don't know.
I'm kind of glad we didn't get that because we were talking last week. We would have had, Boba riding the Rancor, and then you would have had her riding the Mythosaur. I mean, she didn't have to ride it though. Maybe they could have showed something that would have been. But if they had done that, sure, she's riding it. Crap, I would have just been like, okay, that's enough. So yeah.
No, Rey was not an orphan. It is okay. Listen, she was an orphan in The Last Jedi. An orphan. She was left. They changed that. The story now is that she was a Palpatine. Her family didn't leave her. They gave her up so she didn't get captured by the Emperor. Again, this is why you have to stay with that line. The orphan thing is gone. She is a Palpatine. And
according to the movie, she's a freaking Skywalker.
No, now she's a Skywalker because she decided to change her name. And don't get me started on that. We've had that conversation. Yeah, exactly. She's a Palpatine. I'm sorry. I don't care. You can call yourself. Listen, I'm a white guy. I can call myself black. I can. I'm allowed to. as horrible as it would be. But just because I say it
Wait a minute.
doesn't
Hold
make
on.
it true.
Wait. Hold on. You say being black would be horrible? Is that what you said?
No. What I said is a
You
white
try to
guy
slick that in,
saying,
boy.
You got that? You didn't get that? You got that
Yeah,
too, right?
I got it.
"Oh my God, really? Is that where you're going to go with this?" No, I'm saying
Black
for me to
as that
say
would
that
be.
I am is not right. It's not correct. How about that? That's what I mean. It is not a correct thing for
correction.
a white guy to say. But I could say it. It doesn't make it true. It's the same thing with the Skywalker and Palpatine. She's a Palpatine. She can say she's a Skywalker all day. It's an undercover name, though. It's not the real thing.
Facts.
So I don't even want to get started on that. But that's the thing. It's like this whole there's just a lot of stuff this season that they could have led into and brought into this. And I'm right with you, Anzo, about the spies. Where was it that Shifty said? Let me see here. I want to go
two other
there.
things too. Now that I think about it, that didn't make sense to me.
All right, hold on just a second. Yeah, this right here. We never found out who the spies on Navarro was. They never said Navarro. I don't think, did they?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, I know. It says hopefully they answer that next season. No, they're not going to answer it next season. They made a title for the episode, and then they said, you know what? We don't need it. Screw it.
Absolutely.
And then the other thing I remember just now, the IG-11 arc. Yeah, they originally wanted to get him to go to Mandalore. That was dropped. So then they used R5, yeah. And
That was
then
R3.
Well, R3? Okay, R3.
I think it's R5. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyways, the R2 unit. They did that, and now they brought it back so he could get in it. Then it gets broke or whatever, and then they bring it back, and all it took was going to this one place where obviously Din Djarin knows where this place is because he just strolls in. He flies there and strolls in like it's no big deal. And there's this head. He knows the head's there because he didn't even. That whole end scene where he walks into that cantina area didn't make sense. So what you're telling me is at the beginning of the season, he could have just flown to this place that he obviously knows about. He would have seen it then.
Oh, mm-hmm.
And he could have fixed it right then?
Yeah.
That's how easy this was? That part right there, I'm like, wait, hold on. What? That's how easy this was? Oh, I mean, because obviously, again, because R5 was with him, and that's how he found Din, and he has communicated with him before in the past in season 2. There's an arc here between those two characters. Why not just simply, to get to the point, fly out there? Oh, hey, do you know where I can find this part? Well, we have that thing up there, but first you have to do something for me. I need you to take this R2 unit, and you can use it to do what you need to do, but do this. And like in one episode, you can solve the problem of why he has R5. But he's still trying to get the IG fixed. And then you have a reason why he's using R5. And then why did we use R5? Why did he put R5 with him? So he could keep an eye on him. And that kind of wraps all that up nice and neatly.
Yeah,
So when that ending happened, I'm like, what the hell? So, anyways, that's something I didn't like. So, anyways, Hey Sherry, what's going on? Good to see you. All right. So that would leave us with final thoughts. No, just final and overall thoughts of the entire season. What's your final thoughts on the season, and then your grade for this episode, and then give me a grade for the season. Anzo, go ahead. You're muted.
Yeah, go with Danny first. I gotta run to the bathroom.
Okay, fair enough. Danny, go ahead.
And you said what was again? Overall what and grade?
Overall thoughts, final thoughts for the episode.
Okay.
Grade for the episode and grade for the season.
My final thoughts is that it had a couple of issues with it. One of the issues I want to point out before I get to my grade is that to me it didn't make sense. The ship has so much trouble going through the atmosphere, but yet that lone Mandalorian was able to fly through it with just little or no.
I think it was already underneath the atmosphere by that time, but I could be wrong. Go ahead.
When he's flying back to the ship, he had to fly through that atmosphere, and it was banging up pretty good. The ships, it was banging up, but he was able to do it with just his jetpack. And then also, in one episode, like when the bird creature kidnapped the boy, they ran out of fuel, and now that they've been doing all kind of fuel fighting.
Thank you, Danny.
Flying.
There you go. I forgot about that. Yes, they're just flying all over the place.
Like they had unlimited fuel, and I was like, something. I mean, on one episode it was, I guess, a plot device. Yes. Now on this, well, so we got to be a little. And I know, I think someone said that maybe since now they were in an established base on Navarro, that the fuel itself was more plentiful. I could buy that, but it should have been something that said, "Hey, now that we got supplies, we can do stuff." Because right then they might was just they would get it in between trips or something. Somebody come there, but. I was like, they got a whole lot of fuel on this episode. To me, it was little.
The only thing I came up with, because I did think that, and I did think about the guy going out of the ship. I did think about that too. The only thing I can think of is, and again, this is me making that storyline up because it wasn't very clear, is that they were under the atmosphere, and by that time he shoots it, and the pressurization pulls him out quick enough that he doesn't get burned and all that stuff. So, but. The only other explanation, and this is where time in Star Wars you got to be very careful with the time in Star Wars, like how long time is taking from one thing to the next. It took them basically a day to make it from their base to the nest. This is only happening probably within 30 minutes to an hour, this battle. So they were using their jetpacks for a while, trying to fly after it. You had to kind of give us a better idea of how long that time was. So maybe we're talking about this battle being a little shorter than the time that took them that they were flying around there. But I don't know.
I could see the first episode they were out in like a desolate place, and don't know how much provisions they got to trade for fuel and stuff. I could see that, and then now Navarro is like a trading hub there, so I can see where they would have more plentiful fuel and stuff. Plus, they just saved Navarro's ass, so I'm pretty sure that Navarro is giving them everything that they need and want. So.
Hey, guys,
yeah, but I don't think it was about them not having fuel. I didn't think they said something about their packs were not, like be able to do that. And one of the Mandos flies like right up into space.
Yeah,
and supposedly from what
that is true.
There's not enough fuel.
He flies all the way up to the. Yeah. Well,
and hold on, one more thing before.
Yeah,
I gotta ask this to Deej. Deej, are we talking about season 3 of Picard? Because season 3 of Picard is fire. Why don't you like it? I'm curious. But yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say about the jetpack thing again. The only one more thing I can add to it is because we are talking about space, we're talking about different planets and stuff. Gravitational pull can have a big difference too. So perhaps again, that's a making it up myself. But if Mandalore is heavier or not as heavy as where they were at that base, perhaps it doesn't take as much as they're flying. Maybe. Again, those are things that if you're going to use that plot device, you have to kind of explain it. You have to give some, like they could have had a scene when they were first showed up to Mandalore where they're flying with they said, well, we can use our jetpacks to make farther distance. Well, what if we run out of fuel? Well, the gravitational pull here isn't as heavy as there, so we should be okay. Just a 5-second thing right there would have made it, like, okay, this gives you a reason why they can use more of it there.
Right.
But with that said, okay, so go ahead, Danny.
This episode I give a minus. I would give it an A+, but it has some issues that I didn't like. This overall series, I'm gonna give it a B-. It had a couple episodes that were a little lacking pacing, But I'm pleased with how it ended. I'm glad there were rumors and speculation and theories that Din Djarin was going to get killed, and I'm glad he didn't. So I'm looking forward. I have hope that this movie, next movie they're talking about, is going to be better than the last movie we saw. That is my hope. So until I see that it's not, then I'm going to be like, fingers crossed, toes crossed too, it's going to be better. So I think it is. Especially gauging on what Ahsoka's going to be. If Ahsoka in August is good and they seem to be heading in a positive direction, then that's going to even increase my level of hope in the upcoming movies.
Huh. All right. Anzo, final thoughts on the season, on this episode, and your grade for this episode and grade for the season.
Yeah, so my final thoughts on this the episode is, like I said, or the season, is that I think it's the weakest season out of the three. My grade would probably be a C for this episode, and I'll probably give the whole season as a whole a D.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Looking at everything on that, I won't disagree. I don't know if it's the least of the three seasons. I think the first season we misjudge in the sense that it had a lot of connectivity to itself and of itself throughout the storyline, but it still had a lot of this and that going on. I would put it on or about the level of season one. I don't know if I'd say it's the worst of the three seasons, but it's definitely not season two. Season two, even that one, to an extent, it was more the way it ended that made it so good. I mean, this is what we'd wanted for a long time, so, that type of thing. But I give this I'll go B+. Yeah, I'll stick with a B+. The series, I would go B-. I would definitely say that I think that there were some good parts to it, but it felt more disjointed than most of the first, more disjointed than the first season and more disjointed than the second season. So it's like it had connectivity, but it had a lot of stuff. Like I said, I'm not going to blame Lizzo or Jack Black or Christopher Lloyd for that episode. It was not a good episode, but it's not their fault. So it's not the acting and stuff per se. It's just there were certain things that were just so undeniably not needed. So this season has a lot of that issue going on for it. So, I mean, what can you say? But, I mean, I still like this series. It's sad, and I know you gave it a D, Anzo, but even when we're giving episodes B's and stuff, this is literally some of the best stuff we got for Star Wars. I like Andor. I know you guys don't, but, it's like it's a constant thing of, man, we're accepting mediocrity as what's good in Star Wars right now. Because that's the best it can be. It's horrible. It's just,
for me, some of the best Star Wars stuff was the Tales of the Jedi stuff.
That for sure. I mean, that's like that. If they could come up with that in a live action series, that would have been awesome. Or even the way it is, it's fine. It's whatever. Hey, Creighton, what's up? Good to see you. Geiscar, good to see you. Dandelion, good to have you here. Shifty, Deej, you guys, all you guys who are here, I appreciate it very much for being here. We have some polls. This one has 19 votes, so we'll go ahead and just close this one out. The first poll we had today was, did you like this episode of The Mandalorian? Yes or no? 100% said yes. Okay. Moff Gideon, is Moff Gideon dead? 76% said no, but 23% say yes. And I kind of go with, I forget which one you said it. I kind of think it was probably one of the clones. Although he seemed kind of pissed that he blew up those clones. It's like, he killed them before they even had a chance. It's like, really? That's his line? He's sitting there going like...
Suffocating before he had a chance to breathe.
Yeah. It's like, that's kind of dramatic, dude. They're just pawns to you. Why do you give a shit? It's So, and don't tell me this guy didn't have more. I mean, maybe he didn't, but whatever. We'll see. What do you rank this episode as far as it being a season finale? 1 to 3, 4 to 6, or 7 to 10. 7 to 10 got 46%, 1 to 3 got 26%, and 4 to 6 got 26%. So it's sitting right on that B range. And last one. Oh no, was the destruction of the dark saber a good idea or a bad idea? Bad idea got 73%.
It was bad. It was dumb.
I understand the whole Milnor, I can't say it. Milnor. I understand what you were saying, Danny, but the thing is that I guess it had a lot of meaning, but wasn't used enough for that meaning to just destroy it. It's like Milnor is the thing he is constantly using because it is one of the sources of his powers and all of this stuff. The dark saber just was like, it's there, but it's so important because it is the symbol of Mandalore, but it's just kind of there. And then you come to the end and it's like, done.
And it's like, I want it. Give me the dark saber back. I want the dark saber back. Okay, no, I'm just gonna fucking destroy it. Really?
So Milnor actually plays a heavy part every time you see it. It's the thing that the first Thor movie is literally based on because you can't get to it. They didn't use the dark saber like that. If they had used the dark saber like that, like every chance the person who had it used it because they knew its power, they knew what it wielded, they knew what it meant. If they had done that, and I know they did that, when you see it in the Clone Wars, I know it has a lot more meaning there. But here, it's just kind of like, it's a set piece. It's there. It's like, meh.
Yeah, it had a lot more meaning in the Clone Wars. Absolutely.
Exactly. That's what I mean. It's like, so yes, Danny, you're absolutely, I understand your point, but if they had only impressed upon us through the series exactly how important that was, because every step of the way, they kind of did it when he was training the first time, they kind of did it. Say, hey, you can't fight this thing. This thing's so powerful. And then it just goes away again. It's only there for a need if they really needed it. And then for them to destroy it, like, that's how easy it was.
Yeah.
Because it's like what Obi-Wan says to Anakin. It's like, this is your life when he's dealing with the lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
Do not lose this. Like that little line right there impresses upon you.
Yeah.
So, anyways, last one was, what was your grade for this season of The Mandalorian? B minus B or B plus got 47%. F, D minus D or D plus got 21. A minus or A got 15. C minus C or C plus got 15. So yeah. You see, the Darksaber does have a purpose, though. It is the symbol of the unifier of Mandalore. They even said that.
Mm-hmm.
And to just destroy it like that. I mean, granted, again, to Danny's point, yes, to show that it's not needed to be the person that can unite Mandalore is fine. To destroy it in that sense is fine. But in order to make it really mean something in its destruction, and what amount of an obstacle it is to get past this symbolization, you have to make it mean something the whole time it's around. When Milnor is destroyed in Thor by Hela, it means something. He's like, oh my God, what do I do now?
And then he had to tap into a power that he thought or he didn't know he had, right?
Exactly.
So there was a meaning for killing it. But this is just like, oh no, let's just destroy the Darksaber like that.
Exactly. If she or Din had been pulling it out every step of the way and using it as the primary, like, this is a symbol of our power as a Mandalorian or anything like that. If every step of the way they had done that, and like something happened where it gets knocked out of one of their hands or something that goes flying, and then one of them goes after it just to save it, go like, oh, don't lose this. This is this is going to unite Mandalore, that type of thing, you then make it mean something when you do destroy it. It just got destroyed. That's all that happened. Didn't really. Yeah. So.
And the dark saber was built up as this thing from the Clone Wars. So it's not like it was just nothing. It was built up from Clone Wars as the thing that's going to unite the Mandalorians and the leader and all of this stuff. And then I don't know, man. It was just weird.
Anyways, that's the episode, guys. Thank you, everybody. We will be back next time they come out with the new season. I don't know when that's going to be, sometime down the road. But next one we have is going to be, I think, Ahsoka. Is that the next one? It's Ahsoka. It's like coming up in like a week or two, right?
Is it?
I think. Wait, hold on. When's it coming out? Oh, no, I'm sorry. August. Okay. So, hold on. Yeah, you guys go ahead and...
Secret Wars coming... Secret Invasion coming up before that?
Hold on, guys. Go ahead and just tell everybody about your channels real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, Big Afford Entertainment, guys. You know where to find me. Just doing our thing with the 3 shows every Monday. You know, the OOC and, you know, wherever else I pop up. So, great stream. Danny.
I'm Danny. You can find me Monday nights on our channel here, Khaos Central. Myself, 2 guys above, and also later on tonight I'll be on Storms Live. I'm not sure what we'll be discussing, but that comes on at 10 p.m. about another hour and a half. And then Anzo's show and the Hangout on Wednesdays. I come on there from time to time, but enjoy this. Like I said, I like the show, the series as a whole. I hope there is an episode 4 to see where it goes, and I hope this Ahsoka in the next year or the next season of Boba Fett ties more into the movie, The Other Mandalorians, and ready to see it.
So I just put this in, Shifty. He said it's just a hunk of metal and crystal.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't even going to say anything, but here we go.
The dark saber is an ancient lightsaber that serves as a powerful symbol of the leadership to the Mandalorians. The dark saber is a unique weapon with black energy blade lined with crackling white edge. And so it meant something to the Mandalorians. And if you're in the show, The Mandalorian, it means something.
Absolutely.
Anyways, okay, I'm Chris Knight, Real Review 3000. That's my channel. Of course, you know, Monday, like they said, on here on Khaos Central, doing that show. Whatever the next show is on Marvel or Star Wars, probably Secret Wars or something like that, we will be here. Somebody will be doing a roundtable. Check it out, guys.
Secret Invasion.
Oh, Secret Invasion. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, with that said, guys, thank you, everybody. We are officially out of here, I believe. So, peace.
Peace.
Peace.